Hey guys, and welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray, and today we are going to talk about seed starting. This is a topic that I know a lot of people on YouTube and in the garden community are talking about right now. And I'm going to take the approach for somebody who is new to seed starting and someone who is seed starting for a small personal garden. A lot of the YouTube videos that you watch right now are people who have greenhouses and they have large market gardens or large farms, or they're growing to go to farmers markets and sell their stuff. But for lots of people, that's not something that you do. And so I wanted to show kind of how I take my approach, because I don't do any of that stuff. So I don't need to grow a whole bunch of all these different things. I just need to grow a few things of what I want. So I've got my seed collection laid out. So you can see it here. It's not very big, but it's just the things that I knew I wanted. And I have got these things from several different sources. Lots of it is from Baker Creek. Now, when you get ready to start planting seeds, the first thing you're going to want to do, which I talked about in my Garden Planning 101 video. If you haven't watched that video yet, I highly recommend you go and watch that video, and I will link to it below down in the comment section so you can go find it. But it really talks about the planting stages, about figuring out what you're going to plant, what types of things you're going to plant, and how to get going there. So now we're looking at seeds. So I've ordered all these seeds, and now I've got to figure out, when do I actually start planting? Okay? Well, it's very helpful. All seed packages, like I grabbed these leeks, for example, tell you right on the back when to start planting. But every seed package is going to say based off of your last frost date. And so this is something that I did talk about in that Garden 101 video. You have to know when your last frost date is. How do you figure that out? You go online, you Google it, you go to your extension office website, you will find it very easily. So for me here in Central Arkansas, my last frost date is on or around March 20th. Now, as we all know, the weatherman is unpredictable sometimes. So that's a ballpark. And what they do is they look at the statistics of many years. Okay, the last frost occurred on this day this year, this day this year. They average it all out. And so for me, it comes to March 20th. So for this package, for example, it says start seeds in cool indoor environments several weeks before setting out, sow on surface of soil. 2 to 4 weeks before last spring frost, okay? So now that I know my last spring frost, I know that I've got to start the seeds indoors several weeks before they go out, and that it can go out in the garden 2 to 4 weeks before that last frost. I've got to pull my calendar out and look. And so this is a tip that I do, which I would encourage you to do as well. I lay all these seeds out, and you'll see I've got some writing on this package. Okay? So start inside February the 1st. So I wrote myself a note right on the package that if I want to grow these leeks this year, I'm going to start them here in the house on February the 1st, on or about. And then that will give me about February the 15th, they should be ready to take out and put in the garden. And that'll give me that 2 to 4 week window before the last frost that they need, because like this needs the cool. It needs the cool to really get going well. So I've got myself a note. And again, that's average. I'm not going to stress over it. If I don't make the February 1st date, that's okay. It may be February the 3rd, it may be February the 4th. If I don't make the February the 15th date, it's okay. You get the point. Gardening is not stressful, so don't stress out over exact numbers and dates. I know a lot of people do that, especially beginners. Don't. It's gardening, it's a plant. Whatever happens, happens. Enjoy the fun of it, okay? So I've got this laid out. I've got my things going. So right now, today, what am I going to be planting? Well, it is time for me to plant tomatoes and peppers to get those seeds started, because those need the longest amount of time to get those seeds established inside before they can go outside. And a good rule of thumb for me and for most people, I'm in Zone 7 here in Central Arkansas. Martin Luther King is a good day to think about starting your tomatoes and peppers, to have you ready for your average last frost date to get these things out in the garden. Now, the thing with peppers and tomatoes is that they are warm season crops. They do not like any cool at all. So for me to start these seeds inside, I've got to make sure that my seed starting medium is warm, the environment they're in my home is warm, and I cannot put them in the garden until I'm sure that last frost is over, okay? So if you don't have a lot of space in your home to do this, it's better to go on the later side, because the later you plant them, you're not going to be having these big monster plants all over your dining room table that you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to get these out in the yard, okay? So again, do the best you can with your space and your resources. Now, how am I going to plant my seeds? Well, like I've said, I'm not doing a mass market farm. I'm not trying to go to the farmers markets. I am literally growing plants for my garden, some of my friends and family that I want to give things to. So if you go and look online, it is cheaper. You can get a lot of stuff online from different suppliers out there. Most seed starting trays come in big flats. This is a half flat. Most seed starting trays come in full flats, and they are either 36 cell or 72 cell seed starting compartments, okay? And whether you get a one-piece thing or you get a tray that has the inserts in it, you're typically going to find a 36 or a 72. I don't need 36 or 72 tomatoes or peppers, or a combination of either one. So for me, I would be getting those things and only planting up a few things. And as a beginner, if you're a beginner, sometimes it's intimidating to order things online. So I took the approach this year of I went to my big box store, home improvement center, here local to me, and I picked up this. Now this happens to be a Jiffy brand. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, okay? And I've never used this particular product before. I just felt like this was gonna be good for my purposes this year for what I was trying to do, and it's a good thing to find handy most anywhere in the country. So you can find these at any big box store. They're readily available and they're really easy to use. When you are looking at a big box store, it can be intimidating. This particular package is easy because there's no thinking or extra steps involved. Everything you need is in this package. If you go a more traditional route, you're going to have to get they're called 1020 trays. You're going to have to get a 1020 tray, the 1020 inserts, which is either the 36 or the 72 inserts. You're going to have to get seed starting soil. It's very important that you get seed starting soil. So you don't want to get dirt out of your yard or garden, or a regular potting soil or garden soil bagged mix from anywhere else, because those types of dirt or soil are not sterile. You want a sterile seed sorting mix, because otherwise when you put your seeds into that soil, you're going to grow more weeds than you are seeds, because you are going to provide whatever is in that dirt optimal growing situations to get going, okay? So if you are going to do this and you're not going to go with a fully ready to go kit, and you're going to go with the option of getting your own items, make sure that you get a seed starting mix, and preferably a seed starting mix that says sterile on the bag. All right. But this is what I've got. So this is pretty simple. I'm just going to open it up and we're going to walk through it together. This has very clear instructions, so anybody can follow them. Very simple, easy to understand. I've got a greenhouse dome, very important, okay? Just a little random note. This kit actually even comes with some seed starting fertilizer, a booster nutrient to go in the water. And this kit comes with tags, so you can label the seeds that you're putting in this tray. So if you're going to put multiple seeds in one tray, you're obviously going to want to label what you're putting in, because otherwise you might forget. And like for me, I'm fixing to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of peppers. Okay, well, all those pepper leaves, when those leaves start to grow up, they're going to look the same. And if I can't remember which is which, I may lose track of it, okay? So make sure you get some sort of labels to label yourself out what you're doing. Now, this is very simple. So all I need to do this, in addition to what is provided, is water, a pair of scissors, and I use a kitchen skewer, and you'll see that in just a second. So all I've got here in this bowl, ready to go, is 7 cups of warm water. That's what this particular kit calls for. You'll read your directions of your kit to see how much water is recommended to get your starter pellets going. This is a starter pellet right here. It doesn't look like much now. This is compacted peat, okay? It's a net, a biodegradable net holding compacted peat. It's sphagnum moss. So when we put the water on this, it's going to instantly start to rise and get ready for us to put seeds in it. So I'm just going to take my scissors, get that nutrients in the water. All right. And zoom in on with me here, because this is going to instantly start to puff up as we pour. All right. You can see they're already starting to rise. We're going to give it a second. Let all these discs absorb the water that's in there. It'll take just a minute. And if you can really see, it is sucking up all the water from the tray, and each one of these discs is rising. All right, so all that loose water is already absorbed, so I'm ready to add more, because we've still got more growing to do with these things. All right, so that looks like a lot of water, and it may be, if there's any excess, in a few minutes after these fully absorb, I'll pour the excess off. But I happen to have a package of these ready to go, so give me a second and we'll show you the next step. All right, so here is my tray that is ready to go. I've had it soaking for about 20 minutes or so, and I've got my skewer here. Same skewer I used to stir my water in a minute ago. But with this particular brand of seed starter kit, it wants us to loosen up that soil. You have to remember that these discs were extremely compacted. So even though they have expanded, and I'll just pull one out and I'll show you. Here's the expanded disc. So it's fully ready to go cup, okay, ready to plant in. We're just going to take the point of our skewer, and you can use your finger or anything you have. You don't have to have a skewer or a special tool. I just like the special tool. We're just going to get in here and we're going to very carefully and loosely break up this soil and get a nice fluffy environment for our seed to go into, okay? So nice fluffy environment. All right, and I've already done this on a few of them. All right. This one settled back down, so we'll get him again. Again, this is not an exact science. You don't have to nitpick yourself. The seeds will do what they need to do. All right, so I'm ready to go now. I'm going to use a paper plate. So let me grab that and I'll be right back. Plate. I just need a white surface. It doesn't have to be a paper plate. It can be a paper towel, whatever you have. But you want something to pour a few seeds on where you can see the seed and clearly identify an individual seed. So I'm going to start, and I've already got my labels pre-made for this. So here is this variety. So this is Dr. Witchy's Yellow Tomato. And interestingly enough, I got this package of tomatoes from a friend here near local, from Roots and Refuge Farm, Jess. We had the opportunity to go out and hang out with her and Jeremiah for a little bit, and she gave me this out of her seed collection, and I'm going to grow some of these. So if you don't know Roots and Refuge, go check out her channel. It's a fantastic channel. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just slightly tap out a few of these. I'm not going to use every seed in this package because, again, I'm not doing mass market. I don't need them. So I'll have seeds to use again another time. I'm just going to get a couple out here. And you can zoom in and see how small these seeds are. All right, so there they are right there. Now, I am going to put 2 seeds per cell. Why would I do that? Because as great a job as Baker Creek and other companies do in ensuring that their seeds are viable seeds and will properly germinate, you just never know. And so if you just stick 1 seed in each tray, you may luck out and get a perfect germination. But there's always a risk that some of your seeds will not germinate. And so just as a standard gardening precaution, this is just a standard rule of thumb, you're going to put 2 or 3 seeds per hole, per pack, per cup, or per tray hole, just to ensure that you have full sets of plants and you get the germination you need to have those plants to go into your garden. I just like to do 2. I think that works out well for me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to come in here again. I'm going to use this little tool because I have a bigger finger. So I'm going to use this little tool, and I am going to just kind of make me a little well down in here, just ever so slightly in the soil. I am not, here, and I'll just do this the wrong way so you can see. I'm not jabbing that stick down in there. That's a no-no. These seeds do not need to go way down in the bottom of this dirt. All this dirt down here is for this seed's roots to grow into. This seed just needs to go right on top and be ever so slightly covered up by a little bit of soil. That's all it needs. Nature will do the rest from that point. So do not deep bury seeds, okay? But I've just made a little well right there, just ever so slight. There is 1. There is 2. So I just use my finger, stick it on there, and it usually just picks it right up. That's what I do. So I've got 2 little seeds in there, and I'm just going to cover them up slightly. I'm not mashing them down. I'm not compacting that soil. I'm just covering them up. Okay. So I'm going to continue planting these seeds. Once I get done, I'm going to do 4 tomatoes, and then I'm going to move on to my peppers. I've got pumpkin spice jalapeno. This is a fantastic variety that Baker Creek came out with this year. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, you saw me pull this out of the mail and unpackage this. I'm doing a paprika pepper. I'm doing some Tabasco peppers. Then I have some chocolate peppers, some sweet chocolate peppers. And I have some lipstick peppers that I'm going to do. Okay? So I'm going to get these seeds in here. However many I want. Now, just a bit of warning here on Tabasco peppers. Tabasco peppers are extremely prolific. One Tabasco pepper plant will produce thousands of peppers. If they are in a good environment and everything goes well with them, one plant will produce thousands of peppers. So, if you want to try your hand at growing Tabasco peppers, I'll move the tag so you can see. If you want to make your own Tabasco sauce, or if you like Tabasco peppers when you're pickling or canning, you like heat and other things, it's a wonderful pepper to use. A little goes a long way. I'm only going to start 2 of those. So I'm only going to use 4 of those seeds out of this package for this year. Because I'm only going to want 2 plants just to make sure that I end up with 1 plant. So I will probably grow 2. And then if I have good germination and they both grow, I'll probably give 1 away. I'll only keep 1 Tabasco in my garden this year. All right, so I'm going to keep planting. And when I get the seeds all planted up, we'll come right back and we'll take it from there. And I have got all my seeds planted up. I've actually, if you might can tell, I've got 1 row empty. I'm going to have to go pick up 1 more variety of tomato. I only had 1, but I'm going to go get 1 more to go here. And so here's what I did. I've got my tags kind of in each row, at the head of each row, so I know what each row is. You can zoom in here and see I've created those wells I've got the seeds in there, and then like I showed you, I've just ever so gradually covered them back up very gently, so they're not compacted or compressed in any way. Now, a minute ago I talked about putting in the industry standard 2 to 3 seeds, okay? So what happens when all 2 or 3 seeds come up? Well, that's the next step to think about, and that's called thinning. You ultimately only need 1 plant per cup. So if I indeed get 2 or 3 sprouts coming up from each one, after a week or so of them coming up, and let them kind of have their space for a minute, I'm going to try to pick out the one that I think has the most vigor. So it's a little taller than the rest, it's got a few more leaves on it than the rest, it just looks better than the rest. Whatever the case may be to you, you're going to choose that one and you're going to just reach in and pinch off the others. So only leave 1. That's called thinning. Now, another important step to this process is these seeds need to remain moist but not wet. So if I notice that they look a little dry, or on a regular routine, I'm going to probably come in every morning and every evening and check on these, just depending on how it goes. You're really going to have to baby these for a day or 2 until you get the feel for how your trays are going to react in your home environment, wherever you're growing them. And since these are tomatoes and peppers and require a warm environment, I've actually got a heat mat set up, and I'll show you that in a minute. So it's going to be super important that I keep a check on these, because the heat mat, while it keeps them warm so that those roots can establish and those seeds can germinate, it's going to dry out these cups. But I do not at any point want to pour water on these anymore, okay? So you're just going to need to pick up a spray bottle, just a regular old spray bottle. And with these types of cups, it's super easy to tell because they will actually start to lighten in color. That's one of the beauties of this system, is that with the peat moss, with the net encasement, right now they are very dark looking. So it's very dark brown. You can clearly see that they are moist and wet. They just soaked up all that water. As soon as they start drying out, they will start to get a light brown color. If you've ever seen dried peat moss, you know that it is a very light, flaky, fluffy substance. That will start to get this appearance if it dries out. And all I'm going to do at that point is just come in and give them a squeeze. Keep them moist. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going to drown them or drench them. I'm not going to fill the reservoir with water up anymore. Just keep them nice and moist, all right? So, I've got that covered. My greenhouse dome goes on top. So it just clicks right in place there. And now I'm ready to move over to my heat mat. So we'll come back in just a second and I'll show you that. All right, so here is my setup. I'm doing this right on the buffet here in the eating area of our home because I want to have it somewhere where I can easily see it, keep a check on it. This happens to be right off of our kitchen, so I'm going to see this every day, multiple times a day. So here's my setup. So I am using a heat mat, which again, this is just a standard starter heat mat you can pick up at any big box store. I picked this up at the exact same box store that I bought my seed trays from, and as a matter of fact, they are companion products, and the directions on one reference the directions on the other, okay? So I have put a towel down because obviously I have seed trays that are full of moisture. I don't want to ruin my furniture. My Mrs. Horticulture Geek, my wife, does not want me to ruin the furniture either. So I've got a towel down to protect the furniture. And I've got my heat mat on top here. It's already plugged in, it's warm, it's ready to go. This is an electrical device. You don't have to do this step. I prefer it, okay? So I've just got a piece of tin foil that I'm going to come right in here. And put on top of that heat mat. The aluminum foil is going to transfer that heat with no problems, but the heating pad is going to be fully protected from any spills or oversprays of water that may seep out of these two containers. I've got my two containers, and they simply go right in place. And that's all there is to it. Now you'll also notice I have a grow light right on top here. Again, picked it up at the big box store, and again it's a companion product to the heating mat and the seed starting kit, and the references are on there for all three products. Now, I don't have this turned on yet because I don't need it on yet. I obviously have just got these seeds in the soil. They haven't germinated yet, they haven't sprouted yet, so I don't need this grow light on yet. I will, however, turn it on when I start to see the seedlings sprout. And at that point, I will also start to turn that heat mat off, just ensuring that my plants stay warm. This light should be enough to keep them warm and happy, and I may have to turn that heat mat on periodically through the day, or if I check them and I think they're a little warm. You're just looking for optimal temperatures here, 70, 72 degrees, what they would like out in Mother Nature. That's what you're looking for, okay? Just keep it that temperature. So if you're someone who keeps your home naturally in that optimal range, you're going to be good to go. If you're someone who keeps your home cold, like a frozen Arctic tundra, you may have to improvise a little more to keep your seed started or find someplace else to start them. Well, guys, I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope you've learned something. And remember, there are 1,000 different opinions and 1,000 different ways and 1,000 different videos out there of how to start seeds. But I hope that I've been able to give you just a little bit of insight on how I do it. Again, these are all just my opinions and preferences. But it is something that I do, like I said, because I am a small independent gardener. I'm not looking for mass market. I don't need 72 tomato plants of one variety and another 72 of another variety and another 72 of this pepper and that pepper. I'm only looking to get some unique varieties that I can't buy already started at a big box store, because the big box store is not going to have these unique heritage heirloom varieties. I'm just looking to start a few plants for me and a few plants to maybe sell or give out to friends and family, okay? So that's why I do it this way. And again, I recognize not everybody's going to do it, but I do hope that you gained some information and some knowledge, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, show some love. Go ahead and give us that thumbs up for this video. And if you click that bell down there, it'll also notify you every time that a new video is posted. And you're going to want to stay tuned, because here soon, we are going to be putting out a prize package video. So Horticulture Geek is going to be offering some prizes out there to some folks. So you'll want to check our channel frequently in the next few days for that. But in the meantime, like I said, click that bell, give us a thumbs up, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to check us out on our Facebook page by the same name, Horticulture Geek. Until next time, happy gardening.